Well, here we go again. Passkey messing up 1994 Olds 88 LSS. Wrong grill on it, I know. But anyhow, the other day, this car with only 77,000 miles refused to start. After waiting 10 minutes, it did start. In researching where the starter enable relay is, it said it's under the dash above the fuse box. Well, I investigated all that, could not find it, so I started working on the upper part of the dash. Turns out, I don't know if you can see it. See if we can get the reflection out of the way. You can see a little gray thing down in there. And it's not coming through on the video. Anyway, it's down in that little gap. Lovely. So, at least with the dash pad out, I can get to the connectors on the instrument panel. We can get a better view of it this way. And it's still not working. Sorry for the terrible video, but anyway, maybe now I can get the instrument panel out and maybe there's access behind that. This is becoming such a pain, but anyway, this is where we are right now after working on it several hours yesterday, and now I'm going to see if I can get that relay out and bypass it. Well, getting the instrument panel out of the way really didn't help because there's this air vent behind it, and it's in there pretty good. So what I did was took out some of the fasteners holding this whole assembly in. Was able to pull it out a little bit. Had to actually take out the bolts on the other side where the airbag is. Not going to take out the airbag, but I'm going to put the camera up between the windshield and the dash, and you can probably see the relay now. There it is. Still can't quite get my hand in there, but we're getting close. Well, I found a few more fasteners, and this thing's kind of loose in here. I was able to pull it back enough that I have some access. There's a stud holding that. There's a stud holding that relay in there, and it's 10 millimeter. Actually, it's a nut on a long stud, so just about got that out. If I got that out, I think I can drop it down underneath. 99% sure this is what I need to be working on, because I did this on a Buick once before. It had two yellow wires, a gray with a black stripe and a red with a white stripe. This one has the same, except the red is purple, but I think we're okay. So anyway, gonna keep on working on it and drop that down. Well, there it is. Dang, that was hard to get to. Had to just about demolish this dash. Gosh. Did this on a Buick a few years ago. Buick has a nice access panel. You don't even have to take the padded part of the dash off. It's a 91, and they use that all the way through the 90s, that same dash pretty much. So, oh, that was so much easier than this thing. But anyway, it's now accessible. I can do something with it. I don't want to cut any wires until I'm sure that this is it. 99% sure, but I'd rather be 100% sure. So I think what I'm going to do is put the dash pretty much back together so I don't have to worry about airbags blowing or anything else. Hook the battery back up, and then we'll see if this is really what I think it is. But I'm pretty sure, and if it is, then we can proceed. Well, I got the frame for the dash back in. I was starting to get upset that I was having to take so much stuff apart and maybe it wasn't necessary, but it turns out just about everything was necessary. The instrument panel, turns out that didn't give me access to anything, so I didn't have to take that out. Radio didn't give me access to anything, so I didn't have to take that out. But I did have to take out the kick panel and the hush panel. Maybe didn't have to take out the seat because, well, yeah, I took it out just as easier to get the stuff. And then they've got several bolts on this side holding this thing in. See, there's a big one down there, a little one, and a big one up there. And that's all there is until you come over to this side, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts holding in the airbag, and if those aren't loose, then this won't slide forward. There's another one here similar to the other side, and then I can't see where this is pointing, but there's a couple more, a small one and a big one like on the other side. And then way back in here, I don't know if there's enough light, probably not, there's a couple more that you can reach. If you drop the glove box and reach up to the upper left, you can feel it. It's kind of hard to see them, but you can feel them without too much trouble. They're 10 millimeters, they come out. So that's about it. We've got, what was it? Well, that is really not holding on the airbag, but anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bolts holding this thing in. So, got the instrument panel back in, the radio back in. I'm going to go ahead and hook up the battery. Still have some things disconnected. This goes to the instrument panel dimming. This is for the climate control. Broke part of that taking it out. This is part of that, goes up to this red connector. Didn't have to disconnect a whole lot of electrical stuff, but oh yeah, and of course the heat, that's for the heater controls, that came out with the that panel came out. And again, that probably, I don't know if it was necessary or not. Well, didn't hurt anything, it wasn't that hard to do, but did have trouble with one connector here. It got kind of sideways and really fought me, but anyway, I didn't break anything that's visible, thankfully. So I'm going to hook up the battery and we'll see what happens. Okay, the relay is out, laying on the floor. Let's see if the car starts. Nope. Turn the key, nothing happens. Let's see if I can put this back in one-handed. Helps if I turn it the right way. Hang on. Okay, no edits, not doing anything funny. And we start. So, that is in fact the relay we need to worry about, or need to bypass. I'm not worried about it anymore. At this point, it might make sense just to go ahead and recap. The reason I'm doing this is because the cars failed to start about a week ago. Security light was on, waited about 10 minutes and tried it again, and it started right up, which means that the Vats going bad. Had experience with this before, so no point in messing around with it. I know it's just going to get worse. So do the same thing I did on the other car, which is bypass the VAT system, which consists of two components. One is there's a relay up behind the dash around this point. Had to pull the dash out to get it out. Need to bypass the two yellow wires, to connect the two yellow wires on the bypass. And then the other side is back behind the glove box. That's where the actual Vats module is. Need to put in a bypass module. So there's two components to this. The bypassing the Vats module that only supplies a signal to tell the fuel injection to work. The relay is actually a separate component, and the computer completes a ground to that, I believe, so the best way is just to bypass it. So that's what's left to do. Is I've got the connector for the relay hanging down under the dash. Probably can't see it from here, but it's under there. Just need to find out the best way to jumper those.
I really don't want to cut any wires, so I'm hoping I can just plug something into the base of the relay. And then the other side would be pretty straightforward. Pardon my fingers. Just pull out the connector for the Vats module, connect the bypass module to the blue wire, I believe it is, and we should be good to go. Just have to put the dash back together. So anyway, this is as much for my benefit as everybody else's. Probably about halfway through this thing, and beautiful day to work on a car. Unfortunately, I got lots of other stuff to do, so I may not get anything done today, but did want to get at least this done. Okay, so I got a jumper wire for the two big yellow wires on the connector here for the relay. It's a lot longer than it needs to be, but I just had that laying around, and I'll use a cable tie or something to get it in there tight. But anyway, no relay, and the car does crank and start. Of course, the VAT system is still hooked up for the fuel injection, and that's the reason it's starting. If I disconnected that right now, it would still crank, but it wouldn't start. But this is out of the way, and probably what I'll want to do is put a connector for the kind of purplish wire up here, which you can't really see. Trust me, it's there. And that'll give me a run signal that I can use for the bypass module. There's the module. It's held in by that one little screw over there, and then it fits in a little thing, snaps in the back. It's really not much, it just fits in a little pocket. So take that screw there out and drop this thing down. I've got this out. Bit of a struggle to get that connector off. Anyway, it's out. So with it out and the starter relay bypassed, this is what we get when you try to start it. Starts for a second, and then it interrupts the fuel injection. And what we need to tap into, if I recall correctly, is that blue wire up there. I wish this thing had more slack. My gosh, this is be easier if the glove box was out of the way, but that glove box it's easy to tilt out of the way, but it's not really easy to take off the car, so I'm going to avoid that if I can. These are some nice little connectors I discovered. Use them any place where normally you would use wire nuts. And what it is, it's a little spring thing, a little clamp. You put your wire in there, you flip down the lever, and it holds it. I can't really do this with the camera, but I'll show you the result in just a second. So now I got my power from the other side going to my module here. It says red is 12 volts. So we've got one of 3 connections done. I have to hook up a ground. So much plastic here. Finding a ground is one of the hard parts. And then connect the blue wire to, this is where I extended the blue wire out from there. Used one of those connectors up at the you know, where I broke the connection to the factory connector, and boy, that was hard to get to. I wish they'd just give me a little bit more room. I probably should have done it while I had the dash pad out, but I'm not going to take the dash pad out to do it. So let me hook up another couple wires and see if this works. Got my blue wire hooked up to the blue wire that goes to the computer. Red is going to the line that used to go to the relay that is always on when the engine's running. I know that looks orange, but it's really red and yellow, or what, red and white. Got that going to the supply to the bypass module, and just temporarily I hooked up ground to the radio. Just a convenient place to do it. That's not how I'm going to leave it, obviously. But moment of truth. Actually, I cheated. I know it's going to start, but I'll show you that it starts. First of all, turn on the key. The green light lights up on this thing, and then love how these 3800s start. It's like as soon as you touch the key. So anyway, we're going. See my light's kind of pulsing. I think I need to replace the alternator in this thing. Do that soon. The connectors I used were made by a company called Wago. They're German. I guess the Germans pronounce it Vago. And don't really know what you call them. They've got some clever names for some of their products, but those are the part numbers for 2 gang, 3 gang, and 5 gang. I got this little kit off of eBay. So those are real handy. The nice thing about it is you can disconnect them later, but they make a really solid connection, and like to use those in automotive and around the house. So hey, I think we got success here. The check oil light that had been on went off. The oil wasn't low, I checked that. It was in good shape. Seatbelt just went off, it gave up on me. So I guess it was just stuck from sitting or something. So anyway, we're good. I'm really in a hurry to get this dash back together. All I have to do is the leave thing in front of the steering wheel, and then the hush panels underneath the dash, and the bezel for around the instruments that has the heater control in it. So that's all pretty much straightforward. I don't think I need to bore you with that. I'll probably, just for closure, do a one more section when this is done. But hey, the car's starting and running. This is completely out. I don't have to worry about it anymore. That is really nice. I hate having to worry about these Vats things, because sooner or later they will give you trouble. Oh, one little detail I forgot to mention. The module that I have actually has 2 different outputs. Is a 30 hertz output on the green, which I didn't use. I did have to use that in the Buick. And then what they're calling standard, which is the blue wire. And I think that's 60 hertz. I don't know, it's something more than 30. But anyway, 94 olds in this case did take the standard or blue, didn't have to use the green. If you can get a module, and again, Baker closed up shop, but if you get one of these off the internet, you probably want to get one that has 2 outputs just in case, especially if you got an older car, like pre-1994. I don't know, the 91 Buick did take the 30 hertz. So anyway, just thought I'd let you know. All right, well, pretty much done. Still haven't snapped in the little cover piece for the defrosters and such. It needs new foam because it's all rotted out, and that'll hopefully keep rattles and squeaks in such a way. But got the rest of the dash together. Only had about 3 screws left over. Darned if I know where they go. I think I filled every hole, but there must be something. So I'll hang on to them. We'll figure out what happened. But here's where we are. Turn the key. No security light. Just completely absent, because we've taken the security system out, so it's not even checking it. As soon as you turn on the key, the computer's already happy. And we'll turn the key. Starts right up. So, I think we're good to go. Good old LSS now got 78,000 miles on it. Bought it with 77. So if it lasts like my other one, I've got, I can probably get about 300,000 more miles out of it. So, looking forward to that. Anyway, this video was to document what I had to go through to get to that relay and bypass the module for the anti-theft. And just putting this out here as information. I know it's not the best video in the world, but if somebody gets some benefit from it and they can save their car and keep it on the road, that's what I'm looking for. Thanks a lot for watching.